Knott's Berry Farm is one of the prized possessions of the Cedar Fair chain and definitely has the best theming and atmosphere of all their parks. Today's video we will be creating a tier list ranking the 10 coasters of Knott's Berry Farm on the D, C, B, A tier, or the coveted elite status. Join us on this journey through the oldest theme park on the west coast as we rank the coasters of Knott's Berry Farm. Before we start the video, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe. It means a lot more than you think and is the only way a small channel like us can grow. Like the Magic Mountain tier list, we will be going in alphabetical order, which starts us off with Coast Rider. Just to fire it off, I am a small dude. The main complaint about this coaster is almost always the shin guards. I fit into these trains quite comfortably. At least at first, I thought I did. After completing the ride and going through the layout, the shin guards came down a bit more and they were beginning to get painful. Add sitting on that final brake run because of Knott's operation stacking trains, you have yourself a very painful experience, and it must suck for you more vertically inclined enthusiasts. Looking past the crappy restraints, the coaster is your typical wild mouse. There is nothing really special about it, or any reason to praise it. With these ideas in mind, I put this in the D tier myself, and upon asking Flashwing on his thoughts, he says it deserves lower than this, so I guess I'm right. Next up is the second best GCR on the west coast, that being Ghost Rider. We all know this coaster is notorious for absolutely terrible operations. Nevertheless, it offers such a great ride that can you really complain about the operations? You feel like you're out of your seat for half the ride as airtime is delivered throughout the entirety of the layout. Additionally, you have forceful turnarounds that shove you across the train and onto the person sitting next to you. Hopefully they like you. The second half is full with, of course, more airtime and laterals, but you fly back through the structure, so there's tons upon tons of head choppers. This already amazing coaster is exemplified in the night with the feeling of having no clue where you're going. The night ride on Ghost Rider is a pretty out-of-the-world experience, especially during the second half. I've come across some pretty controversial statements from enthusiasts saying that the bad operations along queue line leads to the overhype of this coaster, and while I can kind of see it, I also don't. This coaster is going in the elite tier. What did you expect? It finished 16th best Woody in the world on coaster count and 39th overall on CoasterBot. It definitely earns this spot. Next up is Hang Time. This Gerstlauer Infinity coaster is pretty unique. The vertical chain lift builds all the suspense you would need, and the holding brake is very cool. Like, very, very cool. Better than B&I die coasters because you could just see the track disappear in front of you. The first drop gives amazing ejector, and a speed hill later on in the layout provides a nice pop. Beyond that, the layout is pretty forgettable. There are some good inversions that offer a hang time as the name of the coaster implies, and there are some positives in the valleys. Beyond that, I wouldn't say it's fantastic. Just like Ghost Rider, this coaster has an amazing night ride, and I think it's even better than Ghost Rider. The light package done by that one 3-letter engineering company brings this coaster to life. You look and feel like Mario racing on Rainbow Road, and it's also so mesmerizing to watch. This coaster is not elite, but it offers a very good fun ride, and for these reasons, Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm earns the A tier. Up next is this kiddie coaster Jaguar. I hate this ride. I don't know how you can make a slow, boring pile of nothing rough. It can't be that hard to profile a roller coaster, can it? I swear the transitions are so janky and just feel so pointless. I would appreciate the theming, but I really don't care for this ride. It's also so loud, just straight ear rape. I do not know how a family coaster manages to do this, but it does. Overall, it is not a painful ride or a kiddie coaster, and for these reasons, it falls into the C tier. Up next is Pony Express. This was my first motorbike coaster, or whatever you want to call it, and I don't really care for it. The launch was fun, actually more than fun. My only time riding this was in the front row, and that weird slow cable launch actually had me a tad bit nervous. Maybe it was because I was in a quirky position, but it was interesting to say the least. Once you're past the weak launch, the layout is utter garbage. You do a few turns and come straight back into the station. The tunnel is not that cool and it just feels very, very short. Also, Knott's was stacking trains hella, and I sat on the final brake run for a few minutes and just started rotting. It got hot and the position I was in grew uncomfortable. Overall, this coaster does not do much for me. It just makes me excited to ride an actual motorbike coaster like Tron, and for that reason, it goes in the C tier. Montezumas Revenge is currently closed for a revamp, but nevertheless we will find a spot for it. This coaster is getting old, but it still offers a good ride. You have the positive G's in the vertical loop like you would expect from Schwarzkopf, and you have some fun launches. There's some weightlessness on the spikes, but it's nothing really amazing. This coaster does not do too much for me, especially because positives are not my favorite, but it still is a very fun ride. Also, you enthusiasts that are whining about the best restraints that are being added, I have a few words for you. It's not going to change how this coaster rides. Is there an airtime? No. There's not, so cry about it. Anyways, this coaster is going in the B tier. Next up is Sierra Sidewinder. We have heard about enthusiasts rave about this coaster, and I was interested to see what the hype was about, and boy was I surprised. It was not the spinning that threw me off, it was that final helix. There is actually some good positives, and the train was oriented in a way that had me staring right at the ground. Going through that helix at a decent speed with positives and staring straight at the ground is an experience like no else. I thought I was going to hit my head multiple times, and it definitely was the biggest surprise of the park for me. Beyond that, I wouldn't say this coaster offers too much, or maybe I just forgot everything. But anyways, this coaster earns the B tier. Next up is Silver Bullet. We have all heard of this coaster, mainly for being the worst or weakest B&M invert, but it was also my first B&M invert, and boy was I surprised. Not going to lie, I was hella GP when I rode this, and I thought it was a good coaster, but after enlightening myself and cleansing my soul with the Batman clone, I realized that this coaster is lacking a lot. There's no whip, or much positives. There's only two good moments, one being that final helix over the water, and the other being one of the whippy rolls, forgot exactly which one. A lot of the elements and versions are taken at a very slow pace, so there's not much to see. It's basically forceless. And as I said before, I was like GP when I rode this, and I was very satisfied with my back row night ride, and I was just flipping all over the place and having no idea where I was going, but there's definitely better out there, and for that reason, this coaster falls in the B tier. Now for the kiddie coaster that we rank in the D tier, because it's a kiddie coaster. Timberline Twister is not good. There's really nothing special about this coaster at all, not even like an unexpected pop of airtime or anything. It's just a +1 that is embarrassing to get. That's why almost every other kiddie coaster like Timberline Twister goes into the D tier. Last but not least is Accelerator. This is a smexy coaster. I really like the repaint. Beyond that, you have the most powerful launch in all of Southern California, and that's really it. However, the launch alone is worth the wait, and if it doesn't break down or is even open, then you have yourself a very good coaster. This is an intense ride that can build some nerve. The launch is amazing and unmatched in the region. The top hat is fun, and there's some good forces on it. And after this, you have a few turnarounds and nothing really else. Like I said, the only good thing about this coaster is the launch, and it's a very good launch, so it earns the spot in the A tier with hang time. Now these are my final rankings. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section below. That's all for today's video, guys. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Oh, now quick PSA for the 2 people still watching who even care. You might have noticed we missed Wednesday's upload, and that is on purpose. We started school again and life has picked up, thus we are going to 1 upload a week. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. See you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.